Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a case that has just completely stumped investigators for over 40 years. It's a story that, honestly, leaves you with way more questions than answers. We're talking about the bizarre and tragic fate of the Yuba County Five.
All right, so to really get into this one, we're actually not going to start at the beginning. We're going to jump way ahead almost to the end. Picture this. It's a summer day, June 4th, 1978. A bunch of motorcyclists are just out for a ride, on these remote trails in the Plumas National Forest up in Northern California. And they have no idea. They are about to stumble onto something that will just blow this whole case wide open.
And that discovery leads us to this one single question that sits at the very heart of this entire mystery. It's a question that just doesn't make any sense no matter how you look at it. And it's our way into one of the absolute strangest, most haunting, unsolved cases in American history.
So what did those motorcyclists find? Well, they came across this abandoned Forest Service trailer. Right away, something's off. A window's broken, and there's this awful smell coming from inside. What they discovered in that trailer, it took what was a simple missing persons case and turned it into this huge, and I mean deeply confusing investigation.
When investigators got there, the scene inside that trailer was just a total contradiction. They found the body of a man, later identified as Ted Weir, and he had wasted away. He lost about 80 pounds. The cause of death? Starvation and exposure. He froze and starved to death. But here's the crazy part. He was surrounded by supplies. There was a whole locker packed with military food rations, a full propane tank that could have heated the place for months, and, get this, another man's shoes belonging to Gary Mathias were just sitting there in the trailer. None of it made any sense.
So to even begin to understand how Ted Weir ended up starving to death in a trailer full of food, we've got to rewind. We're going back about 4 months to February of 1978, and we need to meet him and his 4 best friends. This was a group so tight-knit, their families, the whole community, they just called them the boys.
So these were the guys. You had Ted Weir, he was 32, kind of the outgoing one. Jack Madruga, 30, a quiet Army vet who was super proud of his car. Bill Sterling, 29, a really devout and smart guy. Then there was Gary Mathias, 25, who'd had some struggles but was really trying to get his life together. And finally, Jack Hewitt, the youngest at 24 and the shyest of them all. And their friendship was, well, it was really special. All 5 of them had mild developmental or psychiatric disabilities, and they all lived at home with their parents. Their world was pretty simple, really. It revolved around each other, and their biggest passion was basketball. They played together on a team called the Gateway Gators. And the night they disappeared, they were absolutely pumped for a huge tournament they were supposed to play in the very next day. This was a big deal for them. Okay, so let's walk through their final hours. It's the night of Friday, February 24th, 1978. The 5 friends all pile into Jack Madruga's car, his prized 1969 Mercury Montego, and they head out, driving about 50 miles north to a town called Chico. Why? To watch a college basketball game, of course.
And the game was great. Their team won in a last-second thriller, and the boys were just buzzing with excitement, probably talking about their own game the next day. So on the way home, around 10 p.m., they stop at a little place called Bear's Market to grab some snacks and sodas. The clerk there remembered them pretty clearly. They were the last customers of the night. And after they walked out of that store, they and the car just vanished. Poof, gone.
So, you can imagine the panic when none of them came home that night. Their parents knew something was wrong right away and reported them missing. The police started searching, but nothing. It took 3 agonizingly long days before the first clue surfaced. And honestly, it only made things 100 times more confusing.
Okay, let's just get our bearings here. They were in Chico, they lived south of there in Yuba City and Marysville. So the drive home should have been a straight shot south. Super simple, right? Well, instead of going south, their car was found 38 miles to the northeast, high up on this remote, winding mountain road deep in the Plumas National Forest. It's the total opposite direction of home. There's just no logical reason for them to be up there, especially late on a freezing winter night. And the car itself just made the mystery even deeper. It wasn't stuck. It had plenty of gas. For investigators, it started right up, no problem. So there was absolutely zero mechanical reason for them to abandon it, but they did. The doors were unlocked, a window was rolled down, and the keys were gone. Inside, all they found were the empty wrappers from the snacks they just bought at the market. And this This is maybe the most baffling part of the entire story. They left a perfectly good car, their only shelter, and they started walking. Not back down the mountain towards help, but deeper into the wilderness. They walked nearly 20 miles. That's 30 kilometers, through deep snow at an elevation of over 4,000 feet in the middle of a freezing winter night. Why?
Right after the car was found, heavy snows came in and just buried the mountain, halting the search for months. It wasn't until spring, when the snow finally started to melt, that the awful discoveries began. First, on June 4th, they found Ted Weir's body in that trailer. Then, just a couple days later, searchers found the remains of Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling, about 6 miles from the trailer. And the very next day, Jack Hewitt's own father, who had never given up searching, made the absolutely heartbreaking discovery of his son's remains. That left only one person missing, Gary Mathias. To this day, he has never, ever been found.
So, let's recap. 4 of the 5 men are found, all having succumbed to the elements. But investigators are left with a case that just doesn't add up. The few clues they have seem to contradict each other, which has just led to decades of speculation and theories.
And maybe one of the weirdest pieces of this puzzle comes from a witness named Joseph Shawns. Now get this, on that exact same night, his car got stuck in the snow up there, not far from where the Montego was found. He was actually having a mild heart attack. Then he sees headlights approaching. A vehicle stops, and he sees a group of people get out, men and a woman holding a baby. He yells for help, but they just ignore him. They turn off their headlights and go completely silent. It's just bizarre. And later, he saw another set of lights that he thought belonged to the guy's car.
That really strange encounter plays into the 2 main theories that have been debated ever since. Theory 1, was it just an accidental wrong turn? Maybe they got confused, tried to visit a friend of Gary's in a nearby town, got lost in the storm, and then panicked? Or Theory 2, foul play. Did they run into someone else on that road? Someone, maybe the people Shawns saw, who forced them or tricked them into going up that mountain and leaving their car. The families have always leaned towards that second one. And so, we're left with these huge unanswered questions that keep this case so chilling. I mean, why would you abandon a perfectly good car? It was shelter. It was safety. Why did Ted Weir walk almost 20 miles to find a trailer packed with food and fuel, and then not use them? Who were those people Joseph Shawns saw on the road? And the biggest question of all, what happened to Gary Mathias, the man whose shoes were left behind in that trailer? In the end, it all boils down to that one central, haunting question. It just defies all logic. It goes against every basic human instinct for survival. And after more than 4 decades, we are still no closer to understanding what really happened to the Yuba County 5 on that cold winter night.